You know, as an entrepreneur, when you start to build a business, you really understand money. You get real intimate with money. I thought I had a great understanding of money, but I really didn't. I really did not understand the intricacies of money. And I have been all around the world and I've seen different people do business, from small businesses to big businesses. And it will amaze you how much people do not actually know about money. You know? For example, a lot of people do not know about price, profit, and cost. They don't know the difference. And when you go around and when you do business with people, you will start to understand that people really do not know the difference between price, profit, and cost. And a lot of times when people are talking about the price, or when they say, oh, how much does this cost? They're actually talking about the price, I should say. So the price and the cost are always misconstrued with each other, and people can't differentiate the two. And a lot of times people are mixing up the two. And when you see people who are doing business, even in a lot of third world countries, they have crazy prices, and you wonder where they would get these prices from, because as an entrepreneur, you walk around and you start to dissect what it costs to make a product. And sometimes you might know offhand what it costs to make a product, but people usually don't know how to price their products, and they misconstrue the cost of it with the price. Yo, welcome back. This is the Gus, the entrepreneur, and I'm gonna get into the difference between what is the price, cost, and the profit. Okay, so the cost, let's get into that first, because this is something big that really eludes people, is the cost of something. You know, what it costs. And you see a lot of people, they don't know how to price their products because they don't know what it really costs. They might be doing business, they might make a product, but they're not adding up the cost. So what is cost? Cost is measured in time plus material. The cost in something is measured in time plus materials. Okay, now let's break that down. Okay, when we talk about the time in the time plus materials matrix, we're talking about how much effort was put into this. Okay, how much effort did it cost to make this? So let's say you have a business and you're making a table. Okay, now the cost will be broken down in time, which is effort. So say if you're making the table, how many hours did it cost you to make this table? How many hours did you put into making this table? How many hours did you put in searching the material for this? How many hours did you put into perfecting the table? Okay, from all the way from the drawing board to the showroom. How many man hours? And it's not just you, it's your receptionist, the people who probably move the materials for you, everyone who was involved. Take that, break it down, and figure out what was the time that was put into making this table. Now, you're not just going to be making one table, you're probably going to be making many tables, okay, at the same time. So this time will be spread across, let's say, 5 tables. Next, we're going to talk about materials. Now, materials is the total input. What is the rent? What is the taxes? What is the duties? What is the cost of materials? What is the cost of the wood? What is the cost of the lights that you have to pay? What is the cost of the rent of the place that you have? What is the cost of the tools that you're using? Well, all of that have to be put into consideration in the cost, and it will be divided among how many tables you have. So if you're making 5 tables, then you would divide it amongst the 5. But you have to keep in mind that the cost is all of the inputs that it takes, from the inputs that you have to put in to make this, from the time you thought of it to the time it came to fruition. How much money, time, materials, chemicals did you put into making these tables per se. And you would divide that amongst how many tables you made, and that would be the cost. So if it costs you, let's just say $1,000 to make 5 tables, then you would spread that cost, you would divide that cost by 5, okay? So that's the cost. All of the inputs that you used to produce the product. So let's talk about the price, okay? Now, the price is very simple. The price of something is the cost of it plus profit. Now, I know you're saying now, what determines profit? It's very, very simple. Profit, the main factor in profit, well, there's 2 main factors, I will say. The 2 main factors that determine profit of anything you buy is the value and the risk, okay? The value and the risk. Value and risk is what determines profit. Now, value is determined by the buyer, okay? Only the buyer can determine whether it's valuable or not. Only the buyer can determine how much value he's willing to spend on this object, on this product. But the risk is up for the seller, because the seller is taking on the risk by putting in all of its resources, its materials, all of its time into producing an object. So cost plus profit equals price. And profit is determined by value, which only the buyer can determine value. Only you can determine how much something is valuable, whether you're going to spend on it or whether you're not going to spend on it. What is valuable to me may not be valuable to you. We all have our own definition of value. Some people value diamonds. Me, I don't value diamonds. Some people value nice shoes. Some people value high-class food. Everyone has their own determination of what value is. That's why the seller can't determine value, because they're not buying the product. Only the buyer can determine value. Now, risk is all up on the seller, because the seller is taking all of the risk. You might not like what he is putting out or she is putting out. They're taking a huge risk by producing this, by putting their time and their effort and resources into producing this product. They're putting all of the risk. You're not taking all of the risk. So those are the 2 things that determine profit: value and risk. So I hope this wasn't too complicated, and I hope you found some value out of it. It's the Gutsy Entrepreneur. Like, share, subscribe, stay vigilant.